booties for black girl nerds.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mekhi, for your time. I
Of
appreciate it.
course. No, thank you.
I have to start off with this before we get in deep with the movie. I was very tickled. I cover boxing as well. And I thought
Okay.
our big epic shootout scene that will happen at some course. I don't
Hmm.
want to spoil too much. Boy, those are
Right.
some good heavy bags in the gym. Not one bag was damaged in the not a
Yeah.
sand dripping through the holes or anything.
You know what's so funny? I didn't even know. I haven't seen the film yet, in its entirety. As far as like on screen or anything. That's a directorial production question more 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 than for me. I don't know what they did, but we had fun shooting it though. That was for sure.
Absolutely. It's a very interesting story. I'm always intrigued by anyone who is on a kind of semi-redemptive arc, but find themselves being pulled into
Mhm.
past transgressions and how they can do it better. So when you
Right.
look at your character, Max, what would you say he's backsliding? Because he has a lot of heart and he does have some integrity. So is it a matter of him backsliding into old habits or learning from his past and carrying it forward to be a better version of himself?
Well, I think that's what it is. I think it's about the journey that he's going on. I mean, he's just come home. Obviously, he has had run-ins with the law. Just come home from prison, and he's just trying to find his way.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't think it's much deeper than that. And I think that he's learning as he's going. As we all do as human beings. There is no destination. It's always about the journey. There's no I know it all now. There's no know it all. Life is a constant journey, and I think that we've been able in this particular story meet up with him while he's on the journey, as well as Frank Grillo's character, Duffy. They're both on journeys, and they just wind up meeting at a head of that journey,
Mhm.
and they're just trying to bring the best out of each other that they know how.
Mhm. Along his journey, when we experience things in life, it alters our perspective, improves it in a lot of cases because we can learn from the past and learn to see what's in front of us a little bit better. Would you
Right.
say his spirit of sort of discernment, not in just identifying in Duffy the skill set that he has, would you say that that time has shaped him into a more sharpened version of what he was before, what Max was before?
Yeah, for sure. I think that he's tired of the normal rat race. But yet he's not totally out of that world. He's obviously in that underground world. And how does he make the best of it? I don't think that he wants to do people harm. He's not malicious in that way. He's just a person trying to find his way and make his mark and be heard and seen, and give to his family and be a provider and a protector, and and trying to do it the best way he knows how. That's what I love about this film. I don't think it's overcomplicated. I think that it's the essence of just going pure entertainment. You go in there. It's not a lot that you don't have to debate about anything. You don't walk out of there with your mind blown, as far as subject matter. Like I said, it's not like watching Roots or Schindler's List or something. You going in there. It's not a political or religious thing. It's just entertainment. You go in there, you get your bucket of popcorn and your soda or your water or whatever you're drinking, and you go in there and be entertained for an hour and a half.
For sure. When I look at the chemistry between Max and Duffy, they have
Mhm.
a intersectionality where they can meet each other, and it's almost like a real recognized real type of
Right,
thing. What do
right.
you is that the essence of their connection? Is it a realness? Is it the
Yeah,
perceived shared life experiences?
I think so. I think there is a verbal shorthand, if you will, that they have. A lot of and sometimes like when you talk about real, recognize real, men tend to be that way. Without if they don't have an agenda,
Mm,
we kind of we have a verbal shorthand, and it's interesting because like my wife, she talks different with her friends than I do with my friends,
mhm.
and it's a lot more verbalized and a lot more words that that a lot of times we with our verbal shorthand we have, and I think that Duff Duffy and Max sort of have that. We kind of, even though I haven't been to war or Iraq like he has, um, as men, whether you black, white, it doesn't matter. We understand where we are right there at this point, and now we've learned to trust each other to get to the next level, the next place in our lives, without it being too deep. It's
Right.
just these guys they get each other. They're both from war zones, but different types of
Mhm,
war zones. You
mhm.
know.
Another commonality that I enjoy between Max and Duffy was, despite the tough exterior and just the beat down that life has given them, they do still have that sort of a softness for
Hmm.
loved ones, and we
Right.
learn by through both of your characters like what is the root of that softness. Is
Hmm.
when someone has a tough exterior and they do have that entry point of vulnerability, is it a blind spot? Is it a vulnerability, or is it possible for someone to have a soft spot but still not have a really vulnerable entry point for a perceived enemy like
Yeah,
or
no,
encounter?
listen, that's the whole thing about a film like this. We could easily play it as just tough guys all the time, walking around angry, tough, ready to fight. But that doesn't humanize the character. It doesn't help the audience relate to the character. Um, I think the best characters that in most classic films or television shows that I can see have every people are well rounded. Nobody just walks around angry or tough all the time. Not the
Mhm,
greats. Not the greats. Now you may see some actors or some films where somebody makes the choice to, I'm the bad guy, so I'm bad. That's not real people.
mhm,
Even the most notorious people have a side. Now they may be sociopaths or they may have other issues, but they have a compassion to something. When I watch one of the greatest shows of all time, The Sopranos,
mhm,
and I see the late James Gandolfini portray Tony Soprano. Um, he's doing a lot of terrible things, but you also see a vulnerability about him, and a lot of it, and some of his vulnerability comes out when it comes to animals, when it comes to dogs and horses, and he has more compassion for the death of a horse than he does a person. But that's what makes him a sociopath. But that doesn't mean he doesn't have a soft side or soft spot in him. And to play a well-rounded person is what is always more interesting to me to
mhm.
watch and to portray. Nobody's one note. Nobody in this world is one note.
Right.
Somebody, you have to have a soft spot for something or
Mhm.
someone.
And lastly, what's the most fun about shooting a project like this? Because you get some athleticism, you get to show some heart, you get to have camaraderie. What are the best elements for you when you reflect on this whole shooting experience?
The creative process, because from the initial script that was handed to me to what you see on screen has been changed dramatically.
Mm,
It's the creative process, working with the director, your fellow co-stars, coming up with the right dialogue that makes sense as far as tracking the film and making it have an even flow. That you're not in the middle of it going, "What the hell just happened? Who is this? Or what did they say?" Um, just making that. those creative choices. I mean, you really have to love the work of putting it together, and with the understanding that once you do it, it's there forever. So you better have some sort of focus and understanding that, look, the average audience person is not going to know, well, the script wasn't that good. All they're going to see is you. And
Mhm.
that's what they're going to know. They're not going to know, well, the director, he didn't listen, or the so and so. No, they're not going to know any of that. All they see is you on screen, and it's there forever.
Mhm.
So I like to think in that mind frame, because it really lends itself to you really putting together the best foot, put the best foot forward,
Mhm.
and just doing the best you can. Everything's not going to be a home run, but you just want to make something entertaining and
It
something that
was a
people can.
fun ride for me. I enjoyed my future. Take care.
All right, thank you. Have a
Bye.
wonderful day.
You too.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.